All right, it is the day before Christmas. I wasn't even planning on doing this video lesson. I wasn't planning on trading, but when there are trades and when there are lessons, I have to come out of retirement. REXI had this huge spike from roughly 3.8 to 4.8 was the meat of the move. I got in here in the 430s, 440s. Got some nice upside here as latecomers came to the news of this billionaire filing an SEC filing. Leon Cooperman, he's one of the most successful billionaires. It's kind of still uptrending, but I'm just not sure. Now there's rumors that he's been an investor for a little while, and I don't have time to research, so I'm just playing it safe. I locked in my profits from roughly 440 to 480. It double topped here about an hour later, or 45 minutes later at 490. When you have the double top in, you can't just keep holding. And I said that I warned pretty much don't be long in here around 470. And it came down, now it's up a little bit. The opportunity here was being early to the news. Big props to Michael Good for alerting the chat room. I should have been looking at stocks to trade. It was on stocks to trade, the news. Again, if you want an early beta of stocks to trade, send an email to admin@timothysykes.com. We need users to try out the new software. But Michael Good alerted the chat room. So if you are not in the Tim Alerts chat room, you were missing out. I simply bought in reaction to Michael Good's alert. Several students were already long if you look at the chat room archives, in the low fours. But when the news comes out, this is the catalyst that you want to be long on, and it's a question of who can get there first. I was pretty good, in the 440s, not perfect, missed out on roughly like 20 cents a share really when it first got alerted, but I took the meat of the move and I made a nice 10%, a few $1,000, nice little holiday trade. But more importantly, I got to give props to people like this. Eli made 7,000 shorting GBSN. He has a nice screenshot too. Just freaking awesome. I love it. Yesterday I highlighted, here's Eli, celebrating his $7,000 profit, as he should. And Cursed was in on REX. I actually got a better exit than me. He's a challenge student based in Australia. He says he owes me a beer when I come to Australia, and that he does. And I will go to Australia probably next year. But this is awesome, where he said, made 2,200 in under 4 minutes. If you go to his Instagram, you can see that he actually says this, and he says, this is 3 weeks of pay, $2,200 for him. So, he's making like $3,000 a month with his normal job, and then he makes $2,000 in 4 minutes just being ready. And he actually got a worse entry execution than I did, but he sold it better than I did. So that's fine. I love it when students do better than me. He's a challenge student based in Australia, so props to him. I love seeing students make more than me. And I got to give props again. Some of you guys didn't even see this. Stock Realist, his name is Ivan. He's been a challenge student for just like 2 years. He came down to the British Virgin Islands with me when I treated a few of my most dedicated students to the $12 million yacht. But this is his chart, and you guys really need to be inspired. I mean, he tweeted this, and what does he get? Like 40 people like it. I mean, he made $10,000 shorting this pump and dump. And look at his freaking profit chart. So look up to traders like this who show all their trades. Again, on Wall Street, $150,000 is nothing. And that's fine. I know a lot of people who do want $150,000, and Eli making $7,000 in a morning. That's awesome money to the vast majority of the world. And I get more questions about this than any other thing in the world. Whereas Tim Grittani, this is a CNN article. Some people literally think that I made this up, like I photoshopped this picture or something. But no, this is a real CNN article just over 2 years ago now, where Tim Grittani, took 1,500 and turned into $1 million in 3 years. He shows every trade. If you look at his trades, he's actually closing in on 3 million now. And he's at 2.68 million. He's still not perfect, but he's up a few 100,000 this year. And this is what's possible with penny stocks. I know people hate on it. I know people say it's impossible, that I got lucky or that I'm a fraud. But now that other students are doing it, it's really becoming tougher for you to say that, especially given that it's the exact same fucking patterns in my DVDs and video lessons. You know, this billionaire play, this is the exact same kind of run-up that we get on all billionaire plays. And now it's questionable whether it actually is breaking news or not. But the point is, when the SEC filing comes out and you have, you know, chat rooms that are later than mine, and, you know, news services that are later, like sometimes you can beat the news when it's a penny stock. I would never try to beat the news, or, you know, try to get ahead of anybody else. On a stock like Google or GE, that's a very efficient market. But when you have a small company that's under $100 million, and I know 100 million sounds funny because that sounds like a big company. On Wall Street, a $100 million company is so small. Most people aren't paying attention. Most people are not paying attention on this holiday trading day. A lot of people just take the day off. I, you know, haven't even traded really this much this week, but I'm always looking for opportunities. And when I saw an opportunity here, you know, even if I was holding it now to 460, I'd still be up, I don't know, like 1,000 or so. So there's opportunity if you're quick, if you understand the catalyst. And I'm not saying try to always find the breaking news. You know, normally you're not going to be able to be there fast enough, and it's already going to be priced in. But sometimes, you know, when there's a holiday or when it's a small enough company and when the catalyst is seemingly strong, you can risk it. And anybody who bought in the chat room 420, 430, 440, 450 even, or even dip bought in the 430s, you know, now it's 460. So there's opportunity, and this is how you have to try and think. One opportunity at a time. I don't have any, you know, short-term positions right now. I have a few long-term positions. I just locked in WKHSD on my long-term newsletter the other day. Nice 30% profit. It just keeps uptrending, and they're a fantastic company, but very low volume, so not good for short-term. I got to give props to Invest 126. He was in on REXI 475 out at 490. Indigo Kid made a paper trade in at 465 out at 486 in 2 minutes. Good call, Michael Good. And that's okay. You know, a lot of you guys don't necessarily have $1,000 or $10,000 to open an account. You can practice. You can paper trade. You know, you don't necessarily need to have money right away, but you should start learning right away. That is what the chat room is so good for. You know, you can get access to the chat room. Just become a Tim Alerts member for freaking $50 a month. And you don't have access to anything else, but sometimes you can learn a lot with just paper trading. And obviously I encourage, you know, using real money so that you learn the psychology and the emotions. But if you got no money, that doesn't mean, oh, I have no money, I can't do anything with the stock market. You can learn. I know several traders who are very successful who, you know, started paper trading for a year, for 2 years before they actually began trading and making a lot of money. You know, even if you have $2,000 to your name, or 5,000 or 10,000, you know, if you go back to that story of Tim Grittani, where did it go? You know, he did this in 3 years, but the first, I think, like 6 months, he didn't really make any money. He was trading with a small account, and he borrowed some money from his parents to open up multiple accounts, but he was trading very small. He was losing rather consistently. So don't expect that you're going to get this right away. It does take months. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes a decade. But it's education, and you cannot hate on education. You cannot hate on experience. You know, there's always going to be a new play, whether it's a billionaire play or an earnings winner or a pump and dump. The key is learning what are the catalysts, what are the right chart patterns, and how can you capitalize, long or short. Gotta also give a props to B Westwood 11 in at 466 out at 489. Bulls Trader made a better trade than me, got 2,000 shares at 439 out at 476, made $1,100 in 2 minutes. And you know, he was in before my buy, so you shouldn't follow my alerts. A lot of my best traders and best students anticipate, because we're all trading the same kinds of catalysts, the same kinds of stocks. We see it differently. You know, you could have even shorted REXI. I don't recommend going against a low flow billionaire play, but there was opportunity. You know, when you see this double top, I wouldn't short into this madness because you don't know how far it can go. But on this double top, when there's a clear top here at 490, it's not my kind of a strategy to short this kind of news and this kind of catalyst. But I know some people who do very well shorting failed spikes. And that's okay. We don't all have to trade the same way. That's the beauty of what I teach. It's not just buy one alert that everybody gets, that the whole chat room gets. It's understanding where are there opportunities to profit from similar stocks, similar catalysts, similar patterns over time. And you can do whatever you want. I have a whole bunch of haters who just like shorting anything I buy. I think that they're wrong, but at the same time, I do think that this stock got a little ahead of itself. It went up to nearly 5. If you look at the longer term chart on REXI, I mean, there's a lot of resistance right here at 5. So you could have theoretically shorted and made 40 cents a share of downside. I made 40 cents a share of upside. It doesn't matter. I don't get offended if you bet against me. I get offended if you follow anyone's alerts and you don't think for yourself. But if you make 40 cents a share on the short, or 40 cents a share on the long, or 20 cents a share on the long, or 20 cents a share on the short, as long as you're trying to make money and you're testing out different patterns and testing out different strategies and learning. I know a lot of you guys have very small accounts. Next year, I'm going back to just a $12,000 account, so I'll be under the pattern day trader rule. So I'll have the same restrictions as a lot of you guys. I did that when I first started teaching in late 2007, and I grew my 12,000 to roughly 230,000 in 3 years. Every trade is detailed. If you go back and look at, I think it was November 2007 until like November or December 2010. And then I started trading with a bigger account again because I'm like, all right, I proved that I can trade with a small account. Now let me make some money. And last year in 2014, I made nearly $1 million in trading profits. So next year, I'm going to, and this year I'm up nearly 200% in a market that's pretty much flat. So I'm trying to show different angles on which you can profit, whether you have 500,000 to your name, 100,000, 12,000, or 2,000. But if you have different dollar amounts, you need to have different expectations. I know that Tim Grittani turned 1,500 into $1 million and now nearly 3 million, but you should not think that you can do that exact same kind of thing. He benefited from a very strong bull market over the past 4 years, and I don't think we're necessarily going to have that. But that's fine. There's still going to be opportunities, especially on the short side. So what am I getting at with all this? You need to study. I know a lot of people are like, Tim, stop saying you need to study. Well, that's why we have these holiday sales, where you save 40, 50% off DVDs and you save 40, 50, 60% off newsletters. Because when you join these newsletters, when you buy a DVD, you should watch it. You should invest in it. And you shouldn't just buy a DVD and not do it. Don't be, part of the 80% of gym rats who have a gym membership and they don't go to the gym. And then they're just paying for nothing. So if you pay for this stuff, utilize it because it can only help you to learn from successful traders. There's so many people out there who claim to be successful all over Twitter, all over the internet, all over Instagram. But a lot of people do not show their trades. I don't know how to learn from somebody who doesn't show their trades transparently and show the track record. You can really weed out a lot of fakers and wannabes and liars and cheats if you ask 2 simple questions. Show me your entire track record, show me your millionaire students. And that wipes away 99.9% of the fluff out there. But those of us who, do show our trades and do have millionaire students, guess what? There's a lot to be learned from us. And, even some people who don't have millionaire students yet, like, Tim Grittani, he's my millionaire student. He doesn't have a millionaire student of his own, but he's very transparent with his successes and failures. And he is worth learning from. In this DVD, you save $800 for just another few days. And these newsletters, guess what? As I said, I don't want to catch you off guard, but for new subscribers only, my newsletters are going up in 2016. I want to weed out the riffraff. A lot of people that just want to buy alerts, they just want hot picks, they don't want to study. And by raising the price, we get rid of a lot of those people who are like, oh, let me buy this newsletter for $400 and try and make $500 and try and pay my $600 rent. No, that is not what trading is about. You cannot expect profits, especially right away. You need to study. And those of you who do join, the reason why we have these holiday sales, it's only on annual newsletters, not on monthly. because education is longer term. You can't learn everything that you need to know within a month or 2 months or 3 months. But the longer you study, the more you see these patterns, you see these opportunities pop up again and again and again. REXI was the best example that I saw today. SUNE, I totally missed this one. This one had a nice spike, okay? Beautiful, beautiful spike from the mid fives to the sixes. Nothing huge, nothing like life-changing, but it was a nice spike. RWLK, this thing is at 17, up from 6 a few days ago. This thing has nearly tripled. In the news, it's positive, but is it really worth a triple? Probably not. It's just a short squeeze. It's a holiday trade. Next week, this thing is probably going to tank. Or maybe not if next week, then the week after. But this will have some nice volatility for trading, and you have to be ready for it. And sadly, many people are not. You don't know the patterns, you don't have the right brokers. It's just annoying. So while I get pumped up by seeing people like this, also here, look at this. Busto made shorted PACB at 13.20, covered half at 13 and half at 12.80. So we only made 40 cents a share on a $13 stock, but that's okay. I know a lot of people who try to make 4 cents a share, and those are scalpers, and they never really, make that much over time. They make a little every day. Hard work. Look at all my multiple screens. I'm in my office. Wait a minute, you're not really free. You're not really utilizing trading for what it's good for. You're just traded your 9 to 5 job for, a 9:30 to 4 p.m. job if you're a scalper. But if you aim to make 40, 50, 60, 70 cents a share, and you don't do as many trades, then that's my strategy. A lot of people don't like that. Cursed gets it. I like this. He says, this is why I do it. Patience. Did it in under 4 minutes, make the right trades, quality over quantity, 3 trades per week, and he banged nearly 3,500 per week. So this is how I teach, and I want to show you, all different options, because there's not just one right way to do it. Early on in my teaching career, I was like, this is the only way you can do it. You must do this. And frankly, I wasn't a very good teacher in my first year or second year. But now that I have more millionaire students than anybody else, although Superman is quickly gaining on me, I see that there are various options. So I really, really like this kind of a strategy where you make, not necessarily $2,000 in 4 minutes. No one could have planned that the spike would have been so quick. But if you make the $2,000, then you take it. But trying to make 10%, trying to make 20%, 1, 2, 3, 4 trades per week, a few $1,000, it's really, really possible, even with a small account. And I really love this for so many students, rather than trying to trade 50 to 100 times in a day, like a lot of people with big accounts, and they post these big numbers on Twitter, and then, when they have a slow day, you don't hear anything. There were a lot of shorts on RWLK the past few days, and as RWLK keeps going up, those shorts stop talking. And guess what? They're not posting their losses. So in just to merge all of these lessons today in anticipation of the holiday, never take a day off. Always look for potential opportunities. I'm not saying you have to trade every day, but always be looking, because I would hate to have missed this trade. Number 2, it's okay to go long or short. Just try and make 10, 20, 30%, no matter what you do. Don't be a scalper. Lesson number 3, quality over quantity. Thank you, Cursed333, for saying this. A lot of brokers don't like me. A lot of big traders don't like me for saying this, because they're addicts and they're scalpers and they're degenerates, and brokers are whores who just want your commissions. But you don't need to trade as much as you think you do. This is not my first student. This is not my last student who's going to say this. If you look at one of my students, Mark Crook, who now also teaches other Trading Challenge students, he makes video lessons exclusively for the Trading Challenge. He's up nearly $500,000. And we looked at his trades. 80% of his profits come from 6% of his trades. So quality over quantity. Don't feel you need to trade every day, but do feel that you should study every day. And especially now that it's the holidays and we have the day off tomorrow, go look at these newsletters. Go get Superman's newsletters. He has video lessons too. Connor has video lessons too. Triforce just passed $1 million. Go watch these DVDs during the holidays. When you have time off from the market, that's when you can really expand your knowledge and come better prepared for when the market reopens. And I know I say this in every video lesson, but I have to remind you guys because a lot of you don't realize it. You're like, oh, the day off, I'm not going to study, I'm not going to trade, day off. Well, spend an hour or two watching these DVDs. You might learn so much and you will definitely increase your knowledge and your potential for future profits. So I'm gonna have another video lesson on Christmas tomorrow. I don't take days off from teaching. There's too much to teach you guys, too many lessons from the past, and you need to look at them so then you can better your future. So Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. Happy holidays to everybody. I really love where this community is going. We now have 80,000 plus traders on Profitly, which makes us the biggest community of transparent traders in the world. There's a lot of communities of traders, but they're not exactly transparent. Transparency, I think, is the future, and it's going to be fun to see what we can do with this in 2016. See you guys tomorrow in my video lesson. Have a happy holidays.